Food deserts. What are they? Who do they affect? A food desert, loosely defined by the USDA, is a household with limited access to a supermarket. Our criteria for defining food deserts was that a household must be more than 10 miles away from a supermarket in a rural setting, more than 2 miles from a supermarket within an urban area, or more than 1 mile from a supermarket within an urban area and not owning a vehicle. This is an issue that affects millions of people nationwide. Fitting that description, we estimate that there are 177,830 households in Ohio affected by this problem. Many areas have access to your typical corner store and dollar store type establishments, but these types of businesses do not carry fresh food and produce. Food deserts occur in both urban and rural settings. Many people affected by this problem not only lack access to this fresh food that is important for life and healthy development, but they also lack the information necessary to understand why these are so important to a balanced diet. In this depiction, we see a map of the state of Ohio and a breakdown of the urban and rural areas throughout the state. It gives you an idea of the spread of this problem and how much of the state is covered by rural dwelling populations. This problem is very widespread and affects many different regions of Ohio. In this map of Ohio, we see areas that are within a 10-minute drive of an Ohio retail grocer. The areas shaded light blue indicate areas that are within a 10-minute drive. Areas that are white are out of range of a 10-minute drive. The size of the dot indicates the number of employees at this particular location, giving you an idea of the actual size of the supermarket. The scale in the bottom left-hand corner also gives a reference point for the distance on the map and the location of retail stores. As you can see, there is still a large area in Ohio that is farther than a 10-minute drive from a grocery store. This can present obvious obstacles for those living out of this range, as it can be difficult to make a trip much beyond that range with a number of factors at play that could limit accessibility. As you can see, in many cases, those who do live within a range of a grocery retailer live in a range of a small-scale store, which can severely limit the selection and availability of fresh produce in their area. In this third map of the state of Ohio, we see those in rural areas that are within 1 mile walking distance of a grocery store. Rural cities are shown in blue and villages are shown in orange. For those who do not own a vehicle, this can also present a big issue as the accessibility of nutritional food is greatly limited beyond 1 mile when you are walking. Many families in Ohio struggle to afford the financial responsibility of a vehicle and do not always have access to a vehicle to get the things they need for a healthy, balanced diet. In map number 4 of Ohio, we see a depiction of rural areas in Ohio that are within a 10-minute drive of large supermarkets highlighted in green and fast food chains highlighted in light brown. This presents another aspect of the problem, wherein people have access to bad nutritional choices provided by fast food chains, but no access to supermarkets. So not only are people unable to access healthy, nutritious food, they are encouraged to replace that option with cheap, unhealthy fast food. After researching the issue of food deserts in Ohio, our group devised a solution to help combat the widespread problem. The criteria defined for our solution is as follows. The solution must be able to reach 50% of the affected population. It must be financially viable and able to fit within local government budgets. It must be equal parts education services and tangible services. It must be able to be implemented in multiple geographic locations, such as rural and urban settings. We propose that With state legislation and an appropriate budget based on each county, local government could provide 5 monthly blocks of education on nutrition and horticulture, followed by a culminating gardening event to start and maintain community gardens. This cycle would take place twice a year. We feel that this solution could meet the 4 criteria we have laid out for an appropriate solution. Also, the steps laid out could be monitored from both a financial and participation standpoint to ensure the overall goal is met. In order to implement this solution, we would need to develop educational modules for the monthly blocks of instruction. We would need to determine the number and type of personnel needed to fulfill the county requirements, estimate total cost to the county in a dollar person format, develop draft for legislation, meet with necessary government officials at the local and state level, pass state legislation, advertise to the public about the upcoming free services and education, train new or existing employees within each county to the standards of the educational modules, and implement the service in each county. Following the steps of this solution, we feel that what we have presented could effectively combat the issue of food deserts in Ohio.